Okay, I think we're good. Hey, what's up, guys? This is a little bit forced here, but right now what we have is the OSC Cup. That is a weekly cup. Right now we're just going to start by hopping into a game with Pili Pili and Silky. Two really amazing players. It's going to be a PVZ, and obviously Pili Pili, he's a known player from back in Heart of the Swarm. He did very well. He made it to the Premier Cups for ESL. Silky, I've seen some amazing games out of him. He has absolutely decimated opponents from P to Z to T, and he is looking to give us some amazing games here versus Pili Pili, I assure you. And with that, we are going to be hopping into game number 1 of this best of 3 series, I believe. But without further ado, we are going to put the actual hotkeys on, and spawning in the top corner of Proxima Station, it is Silky. And his opponent on the other side of the map, representing Psystorm Gaming, it's Pili Pili. Okay. So I messed up my hotkeys a little bit there, but no big deal. So from these two players, what are we really going to expect? So far we're seeing very economic builds out of both. You know, we got that hatch first for Silky going down in the very safe natural base location, which you can access later on in the game through these back rocks, the debris. However, for right now, there's no real way to get to it that Pili Pili can, and he has decided to go for a Nexus first. So he is not really expecting Silky to go for that pool first. He feels pretty safe because that is a huge investment as the first building. And behind this, both players macroing up very slowly. We'll have to see what tech choices both decide to do, and Pili Pili grabbing very fast double gas here. That tells me he does want to put on a little bit of pressure. Maybe not very hard, because he did throw down that Nexus first, and yeah, we'll have to see what he decides to do there. But this probe coming in, going to get a nice scout off. He's going to see that not that much gas has been mined yet. It'll soon be enough for speed, but I mean, there's a lot of options that Silky can do here. He doesn't have to go for speed early on. But yeah, nice pick off there by that drone. Getting that scouting probe, and that will delay information for Pili Pili for a little bit. He doesn't really have anything else on the other side of the map. So behind this, we are going to see a Zealot to finish off that wall. It's very important as the Protoss player to finish off the wall to stop these scouting Zerglings that are usually there from getting in and really scouting your mid-game tech. Your mid-game tech is very important, but this Overlord gets a nice little glimpse of that Stargate there, so Silky will be in a very fine position to defend against whatever comes his way. What I expect is it will probably be Oracles. Oracles, one of those faster units that you can get out, and they do pretty good damage versus Zerg if the Zerg is not prepared. Obviously with the Queen buff now, the Queen does 1v1 the Oracle very well, but yeah, overall it's still a nice little thing to do, because later on you can use Revelation, scout the opponent's army, and just get some good scouting information. Behind this, we see Pili Pili dropping his third base location at a similar time to Silky, so he's really playing very economic here. He really feels that he can hold his own in a mid to late game scenario, so that's really got to be his thinking here. And yes, we do see that it is an Oracle. It's about to be done. He's chronoing it out. He really wants to get something done. On the other side of the map, though, we see the safety spores going up, and both players once again just macroing up. Either side really committing to any kind of pushes yet. But we do see a Void Ray coming up next. That's a very nice choice. It's a little bit expensive, but it's very good for kind of just getting some scouting information across the map, denying scouting information, excuse me, with the Overlords, because you're forced to pull them back. And the Oracle coming in, getting 1 kill. He's not going to get that much else. There is a Queen at every base location. And behind this, we do see that lair timing. The lair is going to be very good because it is that mid-game tech for Zerg. And yeah, that's what I was talking about here. This Void Ray, just going to go around, scout around, look for Overlords across the map. So behind this Oracle does have enough energy for Revelation. He's not really going to be getting that much more damage done unless he catches a stray drone moving out, but yeah, there we go. He's trying to try and get 2. He gets 1, so he did get half off there as this Mothership course shoos the Zerglings away. And from here, we are going to see very fast carriers. Looks like Pili wants to really use that economic advantage he's had for a bit. You can kind of see by the income tab. Silky barely ahead, but it doesn't really matter when you're going for carriers. Does get a small glimpse of that Stargate. I doubt he really knows what that is so far. But if he can get into that base and realize this is carriers rather, he's going to be in a nice position. Unfortunately but for right now, he's going to throw down that Hydralisk, and that's the first kind of step there. Got to keep that carrier count very low, and with the just attack speed that Hydralisks have, that it's very good for just doing sustained damage over a large period of time, especially when you can get to that kind of critical mass. You do have to, it's very important, keep that carrier count low, otherwise you're just going to get steamrolled by interceptors. Revelation going down there, going to spot this base. Yep, that base is there, just a nice little confirm for quite a bit. As you can see, it reveals quite a lot. But yeah, at the moment, Pili is pushing out 3 at a time. So he's really going to be looking to reach that critical mass quickly, which is, of course, very important with carriers. But carriers just take so long to build, 86 seconds. So Silky has to really be decisive here on what he wants to do. Otherwise, he's going to be in a world of hurt. Because Hydralisk's very good against carriers in small numbers, but versus a lot of them, no dice, no bueno. Behind this, we do see that wall off for Pili on that 3rd base location. That's pretty nice. You know, you want to prevent run-bys as your tech is very exposed, usually with the Protoss main base, because there is just absolutely nothing here other than obviously what he's building. Even throwing on a couple more Stargates so he can reach that carrier tech much quicker. And I mean, Silky doesn't really have any info on this, you know. He hasn't seen the 2nd or 3rd Stargate. He did see something coming out of there, but the shape wasn't enough to tell him what it was at the time. And Pili, he's really just getting that army count up and nice. So Silky has to wonder what's going on because he hasn't expanded yet. So where are his minerals going? To be honest, right now they're just going in the bank as the Oracle goes down there. But yeah, that's a scary number of carriers. We'll have to see when he does decide to move out. He's starting to bunch them up, so you can't really see how many there are. But yeah, overall, Silky's powering up as well. He's about to hit 200. He needs 1 more Overlord in order to do so. And again, he has no idea this is coming. Hydralisks, though, are pretty good versus Protoss in this day and age, so getting them is kind of just an afterthought at this point. Behind this, we see the infestation pit going up, as the Spire is as well. just trying to get as much tech as possible. He doesn't really know what to expect right now. He can kind of assume that it's a bit of a later stage tech, but here we go. Silky starting to move across the map. Those transfuses from those queens is going to be very nice. This one Zealot going to be checking down that gold base, making sure nothing's going down there. But so far, he's just pushing slowly across the map. And it looks like he's very confident in a split map game. Throwing down a bunch of spore crawlers, which is obviously very essential to take care of those interceptors. And he's moving very slowly and methodically across the map. But he now sees what's going on, breaks down the rocks, and is going to back up to the creep. I don't think he can really fight without the creep just yet. And this is a little bit loud. But the first little engagement, a lot of interceptors are going down. He's not really fighting in bulk just yet. It looks like Pili wanted to take that base, but Silky starting to move in here. He has the army count advantage. We'll have to see what he can do with it. The Banelings going, not really getting that much. The Mothership Core has completed, so they can't really see anything. The Hydras, though, are doing amazing against the interceptors. Those carriers are starting to become a little bit useless. There's very few of them left. He could try and take down that Mothership if he wanted to, and honestly, he has to if he wants to engage this army. Another big swell of Hydralisks is on the way, but at this point, Pili does have to back up. He can't really engage into that many spore crawlers. He lost way too many interceptors. So the reinforcements starting to stream across the map, and Silky is really just trying to tighten the noose at this point. The Mothership Core is not going to help out that much just because there is now detection, but the Hydros just making short work of those interceptors. He's taking a lot of damage for it, however. And from here, Pili's just trying to secure this Nexus location, it looks like. He really, really wants it. The gold base is obviously one of the safer of the 4 bases, and he just wants it. You know, gold minerals, very, very nice, especially as he's spent his entire mineral bank on the carriers. Carriers, pretty expensive, especially when you have to make interceptors, but here we go. He's starting to snipe off the spore crawlers. Once again, the Hydros doing what they can. The Queens starting to get low on energy. A few more are left. A bunch got taken out. Those Void Rays just make short work of him. And he's even picking off the Spore Crawlers that aren't even done yet, so he feels confident to go on to creep. Well, I mean hover over creep, you know. They're not technically on. But the Void Rays are going to come in here. The Mothership is doing very nicely because you can't see this army. It's about to get a free Infestor here if he's not careful. Really needs those Fungals, I feel, but gets one big yoink off. It's not enough. Gonna start fighting the interceptors. He's not able to target anything else down. Silky looks like he's in a world of hurt here. And I mean, from here, this engagement is just not looking good for him. No, Pili got to that critical mass of carriers, which is very powerful, but he is losing a lot of interceptors here. Hydralisks do have that damage speed, which is very nice. Starting to take him out, but there's just not that much left. Oh man, Silky says he knows what kind of trouble he's in. He doesn't even have really the money to refurbish this. GG is called. Pili takes game number 1. Okay, so I believe this is a best of 3 series. And stream control panel. Bear with me, guys. I apologize. Oh, here we go. All right. So like I was saying, this is the OSC Community Open number 34. Winner gets 50 bucks. And we have some really big names. So let me just see if I can pull up a bracket real quick. The game we just saw was Panda Bear Me, or Pili Pili, versus Silky. We still have one more game to go in this series. Just waiting on the invite to game number 2. So I'd also like to thank you guys for tuning in so far. Looks like everything is looking good. I also have to stop hitting P, because every time I hit P, it got to change my hotkey there while we're waiting. It looks like Silky needed a minute. So let me just check. Yep, okay, we are good to go. The game is starting, as you can hear in the background. And we are hopping into the second game of this best of 3 series. So, without further ado, he's down 1 game. Oh. He's down 1 game and on the wrong map, it looks like. Tends to happen from time to time. Let's see. Move over here. So we'll wait for the invite for the actual map. First map was on one of the new ones, Proxima Station. And we'll have to see what he decides the second map will be, because obviously you want a map where you can win it, where your opponent has a difficult time, so you kind of got to study your opponent a little bit in order to know what their weaknesses are in terms of those maps. But overall, a lot of the new maps are pretty good. I haven't really gotten a chance to play some of them because some of them, a lot of people of a certain race block, and unfortunately I can't do them. But it looks like just waiting on that once again. But we do have some awesome guys in this tournament here. Alright, hopping in the game. So it was the right map, however, it was the wrong version of said map. So spawning down here in the bottom left right position, left right left, he is Peely Peely. And down here in the bottom left position, representing Silky, it's Silky. So right now we do see Peely Peely moving out on the map with his first kind of scout. He wants to see what's going on, maybe even delay this hatchery for as long as possible, as it will be a hatch first, but he will not get there in time. He'll barely get this scout off, see that it's just starting, but this is the pretty common time, so he does know that it is hatch first. Gonna do a little bit of poking on the hatchery, but overall this guy is just here to be a nuisance. Behind this, we do see another Nexus first out of Peely Peely. Last game, that did show him go into mass air in the carrier build with a couple Void Rays mixed in, so really it's going to depend on if he feels comfortable doing that again. Obviously, Silky got a nice little scout off on it, and he will be, I feel, very hesitant to let that happen again. You know, fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, shame on you. Or the other way around, whichever one. But behind this we do see a double gateway opening. That kind of tells me that he wants to be a little bit aggressive. Probably put a little bit of pressure on with the depths. He does have that double assimilator, so he will have the gas for it. It's not that they cost a lot of gas, but it's always nice to have a little bit extra for your later stage techs, as Silky throws down his third base. So it does look like we are going to be seeing a pretty standard game out of both players so far. Neither side really wanting to get super aggressive early on, but I would expect them soon to start poking on each other, seeing really where the weakness in the defenses are. Nothing yet coming out of these gateways, so I think Peely Peely is waiting on something in order to do so, and it is the Cybernetics core. So now he's going to chrono out a couple of adepts. And he's probably just going to send those across the map, see what he can get done, obviously. As these scouting Zerglings come in, they are going to get in, get a nice little scout off, see what's going on. As did the Overlord. Nothing shoots up, so the Overlord, pretty good this early on. This Zergling, once again, just trying to be a nuisance, but the Adepts shut him down relatively quickly. Adepts are pretty good versus Zerglings. The big thing is, it looks like he's going to get a third Adept, and behind this, go into a Twilight Council. What does that say? Really what it kind of says is that he wants to go into heavy Adept pressure. If not an all-in, just heavy pressure. And we do see that pylon going down here. That's a very nice location to just throw down 4, 5, 6 gates, so I think this is going to be an Adept all-in. Obviously, if you don't scout this out, it can be very, very difficult to hold on to. And if you don't, if you let that Adept count go up and too high, it becomes almost impossible to stop with your tier 2 units. But we do see that Roach Warren going down, and that's a good first start. You know, get a bunch of roaches up. Make sure that you have enough in order to focus them down. Keep that number low. That is the big key here. Just keep it low. We already see 2 more gateways. How many more is he going to throw down? He's actually adding a couple of Stargates as well. So he's just going for everything in the book here, it looks like. What we have yet to see is a robotics facility. The robotics facility obviously there to make sure that Adept count stays nice and healthy on the front lines. But here we go. We see a lot of Adepts moving out. Definitely trying to hit a timing here with resonating glaives, and I think this will be a powerful one. 6 roaches, 10 zerglings on the way. So what the zerglings need to do is they need to get a solid wraparound on this. The roaches need to focus down as much as possible, but he needs to fight on creep is the big thing. Being very careful, he actually killed off his own roach. That's a bit of a misplay there. He saw what was going on, and he wanted to prevent it. Like in Dota, he was trying to deny the kill for the opposing team. But one Ravager, that's okay. Almost hit his own units there. That was very close. But so far, Pili not engaging in this. He's being very passive with it, allowing Silky rather to kind of stabilize, get a nice healthy army count up, as well as get his bases saturated on 3. And behind this, we do have that Hydralisk Den down. We got the Evolution Chamber for upgrades. So I don't think Silky will really be caught off guard with this Phoenix transition. And it looks like it's going to be a very hard Phoenix transition with that air weapons upgrade. And this, the Abdepts, can try and do something. Don't really get anything. Probably get 1 or 2 drones. Yeah, just 1 drone for its effort. And here we go. Here comes the Phoenix. There's nothing really that shoots up, but there is enough Spore Crawler detection here. Silky trying to guess where these guys are going to go. Gets picked off in the process, but this is a powerful attack right here. Hydralisks melt to a big number of Adepts, but once again, the Adept shade away. Going to go for this Queen. Taking a lot of damage in the process, however, he's losing a lot of Adepts for this. The Phoenix as well getting taken out, so this attack is starting to get stifled. Hydralisks, though, not all together, are going to get picked off slowly. So, what does Silky have to do from here? Well, 1, realize that it's a Phoenix/air transition. He's already done that. He hasn't, I don't think he's seen the Stargates. Actually, he has. Must have sent an Overlord in there while we weren't looking. But from here, he has to understand what's next. He knows that there's a couple Stargates. You're not just going to throw down a couple Stargates for fear of a muta transition. That's not how it works anymore. Now you kind of do it to get those carriers up nice and tidy. And already we see those 2 carriers on the way. As the Phoenix just trying to do as much little harassment as possible. Take those Hydralisks, just kind of move them around. Losing 1 Hydralisk for 1 Phoenix though. That's a decent trade. So once again, Silky is being a little bit passive here. He does not want to overextend. He doesn't know what's on the other side of the map. Picks off another Queen though. These Phoenix are definitely getting their money's worth. Even just trying to pick off Hydralisk after Hydralisk. Silky's just losing units that he really can't afford to lose at this point, you know. But behind this, Pili is starting to power up once again. Mass Hydralisk from Silky, and it looks like Silky is going to just stay on the edge of the creep for right now. Not going to move in just yet, but this is the army. It's coming in. Picks off 1 Phoenix. Not going to get a second just yet, but he's looking to do some real damage here. That Mothership Core, though, is going to prevent him from really doing much without detection, something he desperately needs if he wants to engage into this. But the Phoenix, once again, going to be very, very bold. Gets the paint chipped off of 1. Behind this, it's going to once again tech up to a Hive Tech. Going to morph a few Ravagers here. Going to try and do some AoE. Mixed in with this, we got a bunch of Adepts, a few Carriers, and he's just going to keep pumping Carriers here. Is Pili. Silky being a little bit hesitant as he doesn't really want to engage into this. He doesn't feel like he has the numerical advantage just yet. Oop. There we go. Fix that. Gonna go for the Phoenix once again. Nice little poke. But I like the addition of Ravagers here. They're very good for zoning out those Adepts. If you prevent the Adepts from getting on top of these Hydralisks, they're going to be a lot more effective. I'm going to get that pylon here barely. Does get it. And now it's kind of the dance of death for Silky and Pili. Nice Ravager shots, though, going off on all of those carriers. That's a good way to start the engagement. And those carriers are very low on health. The Hydra's taking out the interceptors. Silky is doing massive work here, it looks like. And those Ravager shots just doing very well at zoning those that mothership out. There is no detection, however, anymore, so the mothership is gonna take all those units down. Can't engage into that anymore, unfortunately. For Silky, he needs to wait for those couple of overseers, and that's really just buying Pili Pili a lot of time in order to do this defense. It's just making it so much easier to do so. So the interceptors once again going to start getting taken out by this Hydros, but they are doing their work for him. And at this point, Pili Pili once again is starting to get into that critical mass of carriers. Ravager shots going down all over this. Hydros starting to get taken out. There's not much. And now Pili Pili has an astronomical size advantage of his army. Ravager shots, again, doing a lot, but it's not doing enough to pick him off. These Hydros, they can't engage into this. They need to just back up. And Pili Pili knows this. He smells blood in the water. Silky deciding to take a very far off location here. He knows what kind of trouble he's in as he's going up to Hive Tech as well. For these carriers, hopefully they haven't overstayed their welcome, and it does not look like they have. Going to take down this third base without much effort as the Adepts focus down the Queens. And I mean, behind this, Pili Pili could just back off if he wanted to. He's already done enough damage to constitute this, and GG is called. So Pili Pili will take the series. And he will advance to the next round. I'm just going to make this bigger. You know what? It keeps wanting to show up. It's from a team league I was casting recently. So might as well just make it a part of the feature now. So that series is done. We will be waiting on the next one. We'll have to see what they want us doing. Pardon me. I'm also going to fix some of these issues I'm having with the camera. So take care of that. Please bear with me as we get to the next game. I found the issue. I don't need that. So far, I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in. That was Pili Pili taking down Silky in the first series of the day. Oh, she's getting mad at me. Oh, looks like we are not. Connecting to Team Liquid. Um, One moment, please. Okay, trying to fix this. Pardon me, guys. Yep, so it does look like we will have some time before the next series. So if you can bear with us for a little bit longer, thank you guys so much for tuning in so far. Where is that? Alright, so the next series is still underway. We are just waiting on these guys to finish up their matches. I'm going to try and get the brackets up here so we can have a little bit of downtime. If you guys want to see the brackets, they are on Sc2Online Community Cups or challenge.com. And here we go. Let's bring those up so that you guys can take a look at them while we're waiting. Doesn't seem. Oh, that's how you do it. Okay. That's not how you do it. But we are just waiting on the brackets to update, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to thank you for coming out so far. This is the OSC Community Cup number 34. Winner gets $50 and OSC points, good for their monthly finals at the end of the month. And so here's how the brackets are looking right now. In the top, we have a Scarecrow going up against Solar. That is going to be a matchup for the ages. A Scarecrow is one of those up-and-coming Zerg players playing for 1F Pro, and versus Solar, one of the greatest Koreans on the scene right now. Recently did in the IM qualifiers. I believe he won a spot through the NA qualifiers. And let me see here. Uh, Again, we apologize for the delay. It's taking a little bit longer than we would like. Obviously, we know you guys want to see this kind of action. I want to see it too. But does look like Panda Mermy is in round number 3, which is also a best of 3. He's waiting on the winner of a Scarecrow versus Solar. Sc2 Cham for Odos Equitum defeated Matisse 2-0, and he's also in the round of 3. He's waiting for the winner of Game Time and Yours. Game Time, a very good innate Zerg player. He plays in a lot of online cups, and he's very solid in terms of gameplay mechanics. Yours, I must admit I don't know much about him, but I do know that I have seen him a few times. SC2 True for Psystorm Gaming. Is he in this? He is indeed. It looks like he is waiting on the winner of Gem Rising versus Batty Azur. That's probably the Korean, not Korean, Australian. It's a bit different than Korean, depending on who you ask. But, yep, just trying to kill time here, guys, so apologize for the delay. But other than that, we just saw Pili Pili take down Flipside Silky and Root Demi and Towley. Towley defeating Root Demi 2-1. It looks like Pili Pili was advanced to the semifinals, however, I don't know what's going on with that. I still see Towley, so very interesting. I think I am going to put on some music until we get into our next game. So thank you guys for tuning in so far. I am Passer, and we will see you in a minute in the next game.
You said the same thing I told ya. My eyes are clear, there's no secret. I wanna know, was it serious? I need it clear, my best friend. Isn't easy to show with the weight of the world on my shoulders. I know I told you, it's the best light I know. It's not a game that I am playing, my love. Trying to hold my feeling, I don't know what's right. I'll find the best way, I think that I might. I know you made it in the nick of time. I'm calling on you. I think we're made of something. Time in a pocket, I wanna find a new it's mysterious. I think I found my own way. Isn't easy to show with the weight of the world on my shoulders. I know I told you it's the best light I know. It's not a game that I am playing. My love, trying to hold my feeling. I don't know what's right. I'll find the best way. I think that I might. I know you made it in the nick of time. I'm calling on you. I think we're made of something. I think we're made of something. Trying to hold my feeling, I don't know what's right. I'll find the best way, I think that I might. I know you made it in the nick of time. I'm calling on you. I think we're made of something. I think we're made of something.
Fill me out with your smile. Now the sunshine brings the light. Fill me out with a flame. I will let you in this game. Take me out when I'm down. 'Cause with you I'm safe and sound. 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 Safe and sound.
Alright guys, we are back and we are just about to get into the lobby. Well, actually we are in the lobby. So here we go. It's going to be a best of 3 series ZVZ Panda Bear Me versus Solar on Newkirk Precinct. One of the oldest maps in the map pool. So without further ado, spawning down here in the bottom left position, it is representing Root Gaming, Panda Bear Me. And his opponent, he just recently signed with Splice. He's a Korean powerhouse. It is Solar. So let me just fix something here as well. There we go. So yeah, ZVZ. It's going to be a very interesting one here. Already we do see that both players not going to really be going for that aggressive 13-14 pull strategy here, and instead going to be going for that hatch first, trying to get their economy up nice and healthy so that they can pound at each other with Zerglings, Roaches, Mutas, oh my. And of course we have the extractor coming up next, so early gas, that's pretty necessary in order to get speed early on for those Zerglings, or if you want to tech up the Roaches. I hate to break it to new players, but they do cost gas as well. So if you were looking for just something mineral based, probably stick with Zerglings. But then again, you also need not glass. You don't need glass in this game. Wrong race. But you do need gas in order to make them very effective against your opponent. So yeah, we pretty much see standard play out of both guys. Not going to be aggressive. They technically can't get aggressive until that spawning pool is done. And I mean, from here, let's see what they decide to go for in terms of their tech mid-game. Obviously, TVZ, or ZVZ rather. I could talk about TVZ, but there'd be absolutely no point in this matchup. You know, Terran's OP, but it's not OP in this matchup. But overall, we do see the first sets of lings coming out for both players. Panda Bear Me's is a little bit delayed, but that's really not important. You know, it looks like he does want to keep them back as well until he gets that other set. And Solar's going to be the first one to meet up in the middle of the map. Looks like Panda just wants to keep his guys together. Obviously, that's kind of huge. And here we go, the first engagement of the game. It's pretty much Solar with his tail between his legs. A very nice micro out of both players, but Solar is just going to barely lose this one, it looks like. That was very nice micro out of Panda Bear Me. And behind this, looks like he just wants to get some scouting information and get ready for his next big wave, because he's just spawned a bunch of Zerglings. Panda, gonna see this third base going down. He has his third halfway done as well. And Solar really does know that this is coming. The Overlord sees all and knows all. Speed is now done as well for both players. And Solar is just making 20 lings. So he's really going to be able to defend this well. While teching up to Roaches behind this. Neither player decided to go for Banelings, so the micro is a little bit more straight up. You hit me, I hit you kind of deal, but so far it looks like both players just content trying to gain that map presence. You know, you got to keep that early on so that you can keep the pressure off of your side. See what your opponent's up to before it gets to your base. Panda Bear Me taking a few too many little bad engagements. They can add up, but in this case it does not look like it's going to, and in fact it's going to push Solar off of his main base, or third base rather, and try and get as much damage done, but he has to be careful not to get surrounded here. Loses a few Zerglings and has to really just be very, very careful. He's going to back off for now. I'll wait for the reinforcements. And behind this, both players going into Roach Tech. So we are very, very close to the mid game, where Roach Wars are the norm. You know, And once it comes to that point, it really comes down to defender's advantage for the attack. It becomes very hard to run into each other, really. And so you have to time your engagements, keep them apart from each other. Roaches, though, getting some nice shots off on the Zerglings. Want to keep as many alive as possible because they are very good for wraparounds on the Roaches, preventing them from escaping in terms of one bad fight. So Panda Bear Me still trying to keep his map presence, kind of just delay this push from Solar so that he can get his own roach count up, but he's going to lose a lot of lings for it. You know, Solar still has a fair amount of lings. He's just trying to bleed them off slowly, is Panda Bear Me. And there we go. We do see him back off. Gonna get the Roach Brother in front of them. And Solar decides to back off for the moment. Well, it looks like Panda Bear Me is gearing up for an attack. He's making a lot of Zerglings. He's not droning up behind this as Solar is. So in terms of income, we take a look. The Solar just has more stuff. You know, he has more. He just barely has more army. However, it's the worker count you want to pay attention to, because it's just giving him a nice little economic lead. So Panda feels like he has to do some damage here. He's just kind of positioning himself on the base. Nice little concave. Wants to force Solar to fight into him. Gets a few good shots off. Panda Bear Me but the reinforcements will easily back this away. Please note that these guys do not have roach speed, so it's very, very slow retreat. A lot of damage being taken by Panda Bear Me. And Solar is just going to push a little bit. He can't really go too far here. Obviously, defender's advantage is very strong in this stage of the game, but this is a nice move out of PBM, forcing Solar to return to stop this ling run by. This is going to try and come in and just kind of back off. He doesn't want to lose these lings just yet. But that's really what you have to do versus Solar. You have to divide his army up, split his attention as these Ravagers trying to hit this guy, but he is so elusive. There you have it, guys. This is the strategy for the future. If you want to get away from something, just move very, very slowly. And he is still alive. There we go. Finally goes down. And looks like PBM to get an Overlord. Oh, actually, he's not going to get that Overlord. And now the Ravagers are in play. These are very good for zoning out the opponent's army. So you got to be careful when you try and fight into choke points. There's not that many choke points on this map, but it's still bad to fight into them, wherever they are. Both armies just positioning for power right now. Solar has a huge count of Zerglings. That's going to be very nice to wrap around the army, prevent escape, and just make those Ravager shots a lot more powerful. But we see a huge run by here. This is spotted by PBM, so he does know he has to get back there and retreat. But, I mean, just looking at it, the PBM is going to be forced back, and Solar is just going to be able to do a lot of damage before this gets taken out. He needs to divide it off, and as you see, he does, so that he can get some damage done. But instead decides to go back, just kill off as many Zerglings as possible as these roaches start to skirmish in the middle of the map. Solar is starting to take a huge army supply advantage, and all the lings are gone. So now he has that to worry about in his May base location. He's got to fight all his lings together. And he's going to. Behind this, Panda has caught up in the worker count. He's not at the same worker count just yet, but it's not really that important. Overall, Ravager shots gonna get a couple of Overlords. That's nice. Supply block Solar until his Overlords are done. The fact that he's making a lot of them kind of tells me that he wants to get a nice big surge of units. Doesn't have that many larvae, but, you know, he can still. Cancels a few Ravagers already. PBM gonna move in here for the attack. Gets a few nice Ravager biles off, and his Ravager count is actually quite healthy. But the question is, will he be able to push into this too far? Solar is starting to bunch up a little bit here. He's gonna get right on top of this, however. Ravage shots going down, doing very nicely. But, I mean, Panda Bear Me may have overstepped a little bit. Those Ravager shots doing great, but actually, at this point, he's kind of resetting the count as a big lean run by goes into the natural base of PBM. He has to focus on that, taking his attention away from this, and his army just dissipates. And now, Solar has an overwhelming armor supply lead, and he is going to try and win this game right here, right now. Panda just doesn't really have what he needs. He lost all of his drones in that attack, and GG is called. Solar takes game number 1. So a solid performance out of Solar. He was able to get that 3-base economy up very healthily without much pressure out of Panda Bear Me. Panda just unfortunately was not able to take the lead in any direction, so fell behind too far. And it started to snowball. So we are just waiting for the introduction to game number 2. And the second map will be one of the new ones, Abyssal Reef. This is quite an interesting map. I don't know if you guys have had the chance to play it yet. I quite enjoy it. I haven't really gotten to play too much on it, but it's just the effects that I really enjoy. Basically what happens is, if you lose a unit, a lot of the times it will float up on a high difficulty or on high graphics ratings. The unit will float up, and as you can see, it's underwater. Got all the fish flying around. There's a big shark in the middle of the map. But enough about the map. Spawning in the top position, or bottom position of this map, representing Root Gaming, it is Panda Bear Me. And his opponent, taking an early 1-0 victory as the shark blocks your view, it is Solar. So, we have to look at it and decide what's going to happen in this game as opposed to the last one. Because one of the big parts of improving your game is realizing what happened in the last series, or game rather, in this case, and deciding what to do in order to shape it up. So far we're going to see pretty standard play out of both players once again. Similar builds to last game. Gas into spawning pool after hatchery. And I think this is the most economic that a Zerg can do. Obviously you do have 3 hatch, but versus another Zerg player, you're not really going to get it to safely up. You're going to just take way too much damage in the meantime while you're trying to get your Zerglings and Queens up for the defense. These fish. It's like being in an aquarium, you know? It's kind of like nice little zoo. You get into your bathing suit and just jumping in with the fish. I will advise you guys, and this is a fair warning, do not do this at home. Do not jump into the aquarium, because sometimes there are sharks in the aquarium, and you don't want that. But so far we do see both players, again, just really similar builds out of both. There's very little deviation. Except for this time, we do see a Baneling nest coming out of Solar, so he's looking to be aggressive. Or it may be for defense. You know, that is possible as well, but I do think he wants to be a little bit aggressive this time around. And behind this, I mean, Panda Bear Me is going for that 3rd base relatively quickly. So a little bit of aggression may actually do him some good. Panda Bear Me is going to get the scout off on Solar's 3rd base location as well. And once again, pretty similar builds out of both players. I forgot to turn the music back on, didn't I? Yes, I did. I know you guys want music. So behind this, we do see a huge swell of lings from both players. Solar also getting his first mainling of the night. What's he gonna do with it is the big question. It looks like he's being very sneaky, gonna try and force some of these Zerglings to come around and then hit it. And it will get taken out here. Takes out 2 lings for its trouble. And a few banelings morphing in will get taken out by PBM. He's playing it very defensively right now, getting a huge swell of lings. Now that could be good for Solar, as Solar is starting to drone up a little bit here. You know, this is pretty common strategy, you know, force your opponent to make a lot of Zerglings. That keeps the drone count low and prevents your opponent from getting that economic build focus. But now Panda Bear Me, with that huge swell of lings, has decided he is safe and will instead work towards the goal of saturating his natural base and soon his third base as well. He feels confident enough to take up the next fights. Behind this, we do see his Roach Warren going down. Still no tech choice out of Solar. It looks like he does want to stick with this for the moment. And as I say that, he throws down his own Roach Warren. And so at the moment, Panda Bear Me is looking to be just a presence on the map for right now. He's going to scoop by the lings of Solar, but decides he's going to go for that third base location instead. Splits off a few lings for the natural. And this is, again, what he has to do. Kind of split Solar's attention at different locations. He's doing a decent job of it as well. Unfortunately, he's not really getting too much done as Solar runs by. The run by in the main base does get taken out. 26 lings going down for Panda Bear Me for 1 drone. But getting a queen is Solar and forcing that third base to go away. So Panda has to come back and defend against this, and this is really where Solar excels in keeping the pressure on his opponent. Panda Bear Me just made a huge swell of drones as well, so he's gonna have a hard time defending against this. The roaches come in, but they're immediately surrounded and get taken out. Third base goes down. Solar's bringing a few of his lings into the main base as the roaches desperately struggle to try and contain the situation. Panda Bear Me does have a huge drone advantage, so if he can stabilize, he's going to be in a very exceptional position. Baneling Run By, however, is going to try and get rid of that. Huge hits going off there. Took out a lot of drones, and GG, Solar takes game number 2, where he will advance to the semifinal round. So that's another game in the bag. We'll have to get our next series. Just an update on the brackets. If you guys want to see the brackets for yourself, the command is !bracket, no S. But what we are looking at is Solar taking a 2-0 over Panda Bear Me. Sc2 Cham and Game Time are battling it out right underneath that. The winner will go up against Solar. True and Pili Pili are going at it right now. And it does look like indeed Towley had a prior commitment or something that he had to be removed. But we will be seeing who we get next. So let's spin the wheel of fortune. I feel bad for the admins because I have to go to them to find out what I'm doing next in terms of gameplay, and she's watching the stream as well. But we are just waiting on the next game. I believe believe we may be getting the winner of SC2 Cham and Game Time versus Solar. I believe True and Pili Pili are going at it already. So we'll meet back up with them. And it does look like we are going to have to wait, so I am going to send you guys to a quick break with some fine tunes that I can find. Very fast. So far, thank you guys for tuning in. I am Passer, and we will be right back. Stick around. Alright, it does look like we have our next game. We were just waiting on the winner of another game in order to do this, but we do have right here the Sc2 Online Community Open number 34. I couldn't count there for a minute. I thought it was about to say 3-4. But it will be Solar, the winner of the last match we watched, versus Cham, representing Root Gaming. Once again, a lot of Root players out here tonight. And we are going to just wait for them to finish up their vetoes. They are in the process of that right now. The veto is obviously very important. It is going to be another ZVZ, but it will definitely be different from the previous series. I just fixed some things up. Thank you guys for tuning in again, once again. Thank you guys. It's always appreciated when you come out and just get to watch some great StarCraft play. No, Solar, one of the best. He recently qualified for IEM through the NA brackets. And Cham is one of those upcoming Latin American players, you know? Signed with Root, which is obviously a huge deal because Root is an amazing team. And he's done very well in online cups, you know? Get to see him a lot. It's a really fun guy to watch. So it does look like we are about to get into game here. Just waiting on the invite. It does look like they are in game. Which should include us in a moment. Should also probably change the name of something right here just to update. Uh-oh. Alright, so sorry for the delay, guys. Looks like something just happened here. Gotta make sure it is addressed, taken care of. Making sure everything is updated. Yep, they definitely left without. So with this little delay, I'm just gonna update you guys on the brackets. On the other side, SC2 True and Pili Pili are battling it out in their best of 3. They should be finishing up here soon. Winner of that semi-final match will go to the finals. Pili Pili showing very good play versus both. Who did he play today? Actually, he has only played Silky today. Towley, his other opponent, who was next up, unfortunately had to drop for a moment. And past this, the winner of this cup will be rewarded with $50, which is split out 70% and 30%, and 160 OSC points for first through 32nd. So it's very, very vital to get these rankings because later on, the top 16, I believe, get invited to a tournament where the grand prize is $10,000, I believe. I'd have to check it out, but you also get your name on the OSC World Rankings. OSC is now a sponsor of Root, so it's called OSC Root. And the OSC just does amazing work. They are the Oceanic StarCraft 2 Championship, and they just do great work. Currently in the World Rankings, you see players such as Major from Mexico, Pili Pili from Kazakhstan, Byun Soo Ryung. You see some amazing players on this, and you guys can as well get some of these points here, get on the board, get your name up there among the stars, with the stars. All you have to do is sign up for the Oceanic StarCraft League Cups. More information can be found on Team Liquid as to what days, what times they are running. And yeah, sign up. Come out, have a good time. we're hopping into game number 2 of this best of 3 series. Spawning in the top position, representing Brute Gaming, it is Cham. And his opponent on the other side of the map, he is up 1 game. It is Splices Solar. So this is going to be a very interesting matchup. Cham is down 1 game, so it is match point here for Solar. And already we see a bit of a different approach here on this map. Proxima Station, one of the newer maps, of course. We see Solar going for that cheap and easy natural pocket base right there. And while Cham is going for the more aggressive natural base location, obviously that's usually the 3rd base, but he feels confident enough that he can hold on to that. And behind this, of course, we're going to see pretty similar, getting that gas, getting that spawning pool. So standard CVZ here. Probably going to go into Ling Wars once again. And Ling War is obviously one of the epitomes of micro. Behind that, obviously, we have the roaches or the muta switches. That is powerful against each other. But we do see Cham, he did delay his own income just a tiny bit so that he could get some scouting information, hoping that Solar wasn't very cheesy on him. But behind this, what is both players' game plan, really? So far, we don't see a Baneling Nest. That usually comes down a little bit later once you get your speed up and running. But so far, it does not look like either player is going to be very aggressive here just yet. Solar's going to send his lings across the map, try and do a little bit of scouting, as Cham, it looks like, maybe keeping his at home. I actually don't know where they are. He actually doesn't have any. Going to be relying on queens for the most part for the defense. Probably going to wall off this location, which would actually be a very smart play. Queens doing a nice job there, but there is a little bit of a gap right there. So these guys will get in. They will spot everything. They will see that Cham is going for that lair tech, as is Solar himself. Behind this, we do see roaches. Roach Warren going down for Cham, but no Roach Warren for Solar. So unless Cham knows this, which he doesn't, I had to hit V there, then he could be hit with a muta play. Obviously, roaches versus mutas. Roaches don't shoot up, so that's pretty one-sided. I'm going to try and get this Overlord here. That Queen, if there were any links on the map, that thing would get taken down very, very quickly. But behind this, we do see that these lings are still alive, getting chased around by 1 ling. This ling is a hero among heroes. Queen now does confirm that that layer is down, if he didn't know it before. And behind this, we do have 2 base muta. So obviously, Solar is looking to do a bit of damage with this. You need to do damage with it, otherwise it's just a waste of space. But we'll have to see how hard he does commit to it. If he commits very hard, those roaches, again, not going to be that effective, but they can do a lot of damage before getting taken out. Before the critical mass of mutas will be able to do much. Nidus Worm, actually. So, it looks like Cham wants to be aggressive in his own way. This Overseer is going to go in there and probably see the Spire, depending on where it is. It's in the natural base location. But we'll have to see if he can do it. Solar's going to send a nice little swell of lings across the map. He wants to see what he can get done. This Overseer sees the Nidus network for himself, and that's going to prompt Solar to return home, as Cham does get that Overlord taken out, but unfortunately for him, he's already seen it all. Nidus network getting dropped down outside of the third base, which Solar again does not have. Really smart play out, Cham. There's just way too many Zerglings there to get enough units out quickly. This Overlord's going to start getting taken down. He should probably start dropping creep if he is so inclined, as Solar's units trying to get around this, do a bit of a run by. I don't know if it was seen, but if it wasn't, then there is a little bit of an issue here for Cham. But from here with the Queens, this makes this attack a lot more powerful. The Queens obviously have Transfuse, they can get creep out, and even just going to throw up a few Spore Crawlers. He knows that there's a huge possibility that those meters are out and on the way, but a huge run by coming through, not spotted yet. So they are going to get all the way into the base, force a few units to come home. In fact, forcing a majority of them home before heading on back. Gonna try and do some damage of their own. A nice little wrap around. Not much was lost there. A couple of drones. But we do see the mutas moving across the map. Still committing to them. It looks like he's going to be going up to at least 8 or 10. And with them, he's going to try and just kind of poke around, see what kind of damage he can get done. The drones do not have a Spore Crawler, so if he focuses these down, he's going to get a lot of them. Paying attention, he is now. And this is actually going to prompt him to go. He's going to oh my gosh, but the amount of Spine Crawlers there. This is just going to get shut down immediately. It looks like Cham is in a bit of trouble. Bringing the Night Swarm a little bit closer as well. These mutas just going to town on Cham's base. He has nothing to shoot up. All his Queens are on the other side of the map, and he's really not going to be able to get up that ramp very well. He's going to go for it anyway, and immediately he is rebuffed. So these mutas are going to be doing a lot of damage on the other side of the map, taking out Larva, taking out this lair. I don't know if there's really anything Cham can do. He can't move up that ramp. He can't really stay here. He's got to send the Queens home at the very least, and he does do so. And I mean, the lair's still going to go down unless the transfuses are nice, which they are. But behind this, he's taking a lot of damage. He's down to half the army supply, half the worker count. Well, not army supply, he is worker count though. But this Mutaflock is just like, I don't care at this point. He could take this whole army right now if he wanted to, with just this small clump of mutas. I'm gonna dive in once again. He really wants to get units for his trouble. The Queens gonna get right on top of them, wasting all that transfuse energy. Gonna keep him alive for the moment, but there is not much else. Gets one for his trouble. And now he can just start picking off things in random locations across the map. A few Overlords maybe. Gonna get a few more Queens. And yeah, so Solar has full map control, he has full map vision. He's stuck in his own base, but with this amount of Spine Crawlers, nothing bad is going to happen to him anytime soon. Even just getting the stray Overlord here and there is enough to warrant this Mutaflock. And he is still committing to mutas. He's got a few more on the way. So I just don't really know what he can do versus this, you know? If he wanted to, he could even just pull all the mutas home, and Cham wouldn't be able to do anything. These Spore Crawlers would get taken down very quickly. And definitely, Mutaflock's just going to meet up. Now they can really dive on anything they want. It's like a family reunion here, but a family of death. Even just ignoring the Overlords, they are counting their lucky stars. But this flock is being very hesitant with it, to be honest. No, not really choosing a location just yet to attack. Giving Cham a little bit of time to get that Queen count up, but there we go. He's just going to dive right on top of this. All those Queens absolutely melt And with that, I think Chum is going to have to tap out here soon. There is just not enough for him to do. He loses that base. His one mining base is starting to get low, especially on workers. He's only got 20 of them. But Solar's starting to play with his food here a little. He's going to just keep poking in, find what damage. This is nice, trying to circumvent that big wall of spines, but I think it's a little, too late at this point. There's nowhere really for Cham to run. He's going to try and win the game with one big attack. And immediately the Lings are on top of it. But they are being backed off. So a little bit of a base race, but not one that Cham can effectively fight. So he's just going to pull the Mutas home, take out this army, and from there win the game. It looks like... and yeah, it looks like it is GG from here. He's trapped in this base. He will get the lair, but he's already gotten all the utility out of that lair he needed. Has Solar. And if he wanted to, he can just send these Lings home. Not even home, send them across the map and just start cleaning up the remainder of the buildings. And try and go up the ramp, but not all the roaches are firing. The Mutas just get right on top of it, and it looks like this will be the final battle. Cham is going to go up the ramp, get eliminated. GG. Solar advances to the finals. Excellent play out of Solar there. He read his opponent's weaknesses, and he took full advantage of them. So if you guys want to know where we are in the tournament, you can type in !bracket, but I will tell you right now, it is going to be a PVZ final versus Pili Pili and Solar. Okay. It does look like we are going into our best of 5. Ooh, that's a bit of a blow. But we are in the home stretch, ladies and gentlemen. The two vetoes are out on the ground, and Paladino are the two maps getting tossed away. And there, we don't know the map order just yet. I think they just slipped into a private chat for that. So Pili Pili has done exceptionally well for himself in this tournament, taking out powerhouses such as Silky and True. That's how we got here today, folks, and he is going to try and his luck at a 3-peat in this tournament just to win it all. First map is going to be Belshir Vestige. Belshir Vestige. Obviously one of those maps they brought back for this epic series. Just for this epic series. They didn't do it for any other reason, but they wanted to see Pili Pili and Solar on this map. But we're getting the rest of the map order. The maps will go as such. First, Belshir Vestige. Second, Cactus Valley. Third, Newkirk Precinct. Fourth, Proxima Station. And last but not least, Abyssal Reef. And with that, it looks like looks like we're gonna get this started. We are in the lobby right now, just waiting for the go-go. And you know we're gonna go-go. Once this starts up. Nope, looks like we have the wrong server selected. So we gotta fix that really fast. No worries. I might just not wait for an invite this time. I have this person on my friend list, so I might just sneak my way in. But yeah, Pili Pili versus Solar coming on up, guys. PVZ. If you guys like this matchup, let me know what you guys think of it in the chat. Oh, can't do that. Okay. Yeah, tell me what you guys think. Who is going to take this series and what's the score going to be? I want to hear what you guys think. Obviously, we've had some upsets tonight with Pili Pili taking out Drew. I believe that was 2-0 as well, so it's going to be very, very interesting game to say the least. But we're just getting the players in. This is the remade part. I'm just going to make sure my region options are the best match, just so I don't mess anything up. There was a tournament the other day, unfortunately, where I made a mistake of setting my game to Central, and it kept reverting to Central for whatever reason. But we are hopping into this game right about now, just waiting for the countdown timer to finish up. So right about now. So without further ado, spawning in the top position, representing Storm Gaming, it's Pili Pili. That's why I don't turn the overlay off. But spawning in the bottom position, representing Splice. Had to think of it for a second there. It is Solar. That taken care of, and already we see Pili Pili breaking out the Protoss strats. You know, he's throwing down that gateway in the middle here. It looks like it may be either 2, 3, or 4 gate. You know, obviously this is the map to do it on. 4 gate used to be very popular on this map. I believe way back in the day, this was an old, really old map. I believe this came out during Wings of Liberty. If you guys want to let me know if I'm right or wrong there, I'd much appreciate it. But we do see it is a 4 gate, so he's just going to be pumping zealots across the map, and we'll have to see what Solar's reaction is going to be. He's going to see this eventually, but it's going to be a little ways off before he does. The first couple of zealots will already be made by the time he does. So, what is his defense strategy going to be? Will he decide to stick with Ling Queen, or will he fast tech up into roaches in order to defend against this? This probe coming in here, gonna scout, see what his opponent's up to, but here we go. Solar's gotten confirmation of what's going on, and we'll have to see what he can do. Spawning pool is now done, so whatever Solar wants to do, he can. He's throwing down a spine crawler, very, very conservative at the moment. He's gonna focus on Ling Queen in order to defend him against this. Not gonna get those roaches just yet. But here we go. First couple of zealots coming on in. Let's see what they can get done before this spine crawler is complete. They need to get into a good position before they can really do anything. And the first one does. The second one trying to go around. Not able to get into it just yet. And right now he is just kind of poking around, trying to see where the weaknesses are. Looks like he's going to decide to go for this base, but no, he's being very indecisive with these zealots right now. He does not want to lose them this early on. Zealots are very powerful when they start to snowball, but here we go. First blood has been spilled. The Zealots in a not too bad position, but great micro out of Solar so far. He's barely lost anything. Only 1 drone and 5 links to this. Let's leave that up for a second longer. The 3 Zealots. This is very nice for him so far. And I mean, behind this, you know, Solar's going to be able to snowball, especially when speed is complete. He's going to be able to take those reinforcements and just stop them from getting in. While he does have a big Ling run by on the other side of the map, he snuck them out while the Zealots were in the main base. And it is a micro battle on both sides of the map. The Spine Crawler instantly is going to get picked off here, but it's going to be at a price. That last Spine remaining will get these Zealots surrounded. And these Lings just doing a bunch of damage across the map, just forcing those guys off the mineral line at a time when you can't really afford to. GG is called. So excellent game number 1 out of our Zerg player Solar. We'll have to see how that's going to affect him the rest of the series, you know. Obviously losing a game like that early on would have been devastating to Cheese, but Pili Pili tried to use it as a method to get ahead. Obviously when you're playing an amazing player like Solar, you want to get ahead as quickly as possible. But now we are just waiting for game number 2 on Cactus Valley. Boy, oh boy, is Cactus Valley a map that brings back some memories of Heart of the Swarm. I think you guys remember it. It is almost current history. About a year ago is when it came up, near the end of Heart of the Swarm. Stuck around for a little bit in Legacy of the Void before they removed it. It was even in the beta, so players had 2 expansions to figure out how to play this. So let's see if they have. Oop. Spawning in the top left position of Cactus Valley, it's Pili Pili. And his opponent in the bottom right position of the map. He is up 1 game in this best of 5. It's Solar. It's really the fact that this is a 4-player map leads to some plays that are a bit riskier than others. Now Solar could easily go for a 3-hatch if he wanted to. It would just be aggressive with his expansions. Don't know if he's going to do that just yet, but I think this would be the kind of map to do it. Just because it is a 4-player map. This one and Honor Grounds would be the good ones to do it on. We do see a very fast wall off out of Pili Pili, however. He's going to play it absolutely safe before getting his Nexus a little bit later on. And behind this, we're going to see standard play once again. You know, there's no real point in trying to cheese once again when you already have your opponent on edge, knowing that there's probably going to be cheese out there on the map. But yeah, this is definitely not really the map to cheese on. So we do see a good scout off out of Pili Pili. He's going to know where his opponent is almost instantly. And behind this, he will not know that Solar is going for a very fast third base. Feels confident enough to do it on. He does not know where his opponent is just yet. As you can see, the Overlord hasn't seen anything just yet.
Our drones are under attack.
But this probe, just trying to be as annoying as possible. Not going to get a kill if Solar's on top of things, which, I mean, it's Solar. He's going to be on top of things. You don't really lose a drone to a probe at this level unless you royally messed up. But we do see a pretty common build here out of Pili. He's going to send 2 Adepts across the map, try and get some damage done. You know, a little bit of scouting, a little bit of damage. It's a win-win. For Pili, that is. This will be seen by this Overlord, so whatever reaction Solar will have, it will be there. But now we do see Solar getting a read on his opponent as the Adepts go into the base. They're going to try and two-shot some drones here. Already getting two. That's a nice little pick-off. Cancels the Shade as well. He wants to get these drones right now. 3 so far. Not bad so far. He's got to be careful with this Shade. Nice cancel. We'll lose 1 Adept before everything is said and done, but getting 5 drones so far is a really nice pick-off for him, actually. I'm going to get the Overlord as well. But this Adept will go down without getting anything else. Oh, and the Stalker can't actually get out of the base. So what is Solar's reaction to this? He knows that there's no Adepts coming across the map anymore, so he's going to try and do a little bit of a poke here. Pretty standard stuff out of him. That Overlord. He doesn't want to die, and that's why he got his legs. But yeah, behind this we do see that Twilight Council going down with a robotics facility, Resonating Glaive, so it looks like Pili Pili wants to go heavy into Adept play. Which I don't disagree with, you know. Adepts, if they snowball properly, are really good. Oh, Solar, wanting to do something about that. It's going to send a nice little drop in here. Going to kill off this Stalker if he's not careful, but past that, I don't think this will get too much done if Pili Pili is paying attention. But he will get the scout off on Resonating Glaives. And the fact is, he knows it's Resonating Glaives as opposed to Blink, just with the amount of depths that there are. So this is going to force the Adepts to stay home for just a little bit longer, just the fear of the Zergling drop. But past this, Solar doesn't want to try and risk it. He's just going to throw down his Baneling Nest at home, which is the best way to play it out. Obviously, if you throw down that Baneling Nest, then you're going to have to force your opponent to split, which means they're not attacking. It's just good for dividing your forces and letting the Zerglings get a good wraparound, which is where they are at their most powerful. Versus this. Ooh, nice. Pili Pili's not paying attention, which he is. May get that Overlord as well, but not at the moment. But so far, I really like Solar's position right now. Just because of his vision on the map, he's not really going to be surprised by anything, I feel. He's going to try and go in here with this Overlord once again as the Warp Prism moves across the map. There is 1 Adept in position, so Solar has to pay attention in order to get this off. But actually, Pili not pulling the drone just yet. 2 Banelings going off, 6 to 9 drones going down. Oh, the carnage. Oh no, these Lings getting an additional one. Where's the Warp Prism? There it is. Saying 2 Adepts actually adds a distraction. That's a very nice, but the Queen is in position, so he's not going to get anything done on the other side of the map. So big plays out of Solar. He's taking a very large economic lead. What's the button? I forgot the button. And from here, Solar has full map control. Pili can't really move out on the map just yet. He's got to just build up his forces. And Solar's going to do his best to keep him at home. Again, not paying attention. Just barely paying attention, actually. Wants to focus down the Overlord, to be honest. But the Warp Prism, trying to do stuff across the map. But Solar is just everywhere at this point. Pili not really able to reach the defenses just yet. He is going to move out, however, try and do something with this push. Got enough force fields in here to prevent them from getting on top of his units, which is important with the Banelings, but we already have the Ravager transition, which is really what you need in order to prevent force fields from dividing your army. Stalker Warp in here, going to try and bolster his numbers. And here we go, the first big engagement is on force fields, stopping the Banelings from hitting anything. The Ravager is doing a good job as well. And from here, Peely's just being very cautious with this attack. He knows if he goes in too far, he's going to die. Like, heavily die. There's no doubt about that. But other than this, we got another big fight. One Bailing does get through. Not enough to kill it off. They're starting to connect with the sentries at the back, but good force fields, but this will be pushed back. Can't really get in there just yet. Another big warp in of Adepts, however, is going to try and change that, but another big breed of I keep wanting to say Zerglings, but they're Zerglings. Zerg Zealots. Nice big hits. Good micro out of Pili, however, trying to mitigate the damage, but he really needs to get those Immortals. Those are very important for this push. If anything else, what this attack is doing is giving Pili a time at home to keep the pressure off of him, but he's got to be careful. He's starting to take a lot of damage on these units. And try and go for a flank. Nice cancel right there on the Shade. Gonna go for this 4th base location. The splits are decent as well. The Bailings gonna connect with a big chunk of this army, however. And I mean, from here, Peely's attack is starting to falter a little bit. Take a look at the army supply. It's relatively even, but it's starting to go into Solar's favor. He's getting a few drones, but this army is now fully cleaned up. GG is called, and Solar takes a quick match point. Excellent play out of Solar there. Just excellent play. You know, he was all over the map. He recognized what Peely was doing and countered it very efficiently, as you can kind of expect out of Solar. So third map is going to be Newkirk Precinct, possibly the last map. It is match point for Solar in this best of 3 series, or best of 5 series rather, excuse me. And we're just gonna hop right into game number 3. Excuse me, one moment. The go-go is called. Just waiting on Solar's ready. Says go-go, and here we go. Right about now, people of the internet. Flawless. Spawning down here in the bottom left position. He's down 2 games, has to bring it back for all 3. It is Scythe Storm's Peely. And his opponent looking to close out the series on this, the map of old. It is Solar. So the question is, what is Peely going to do here? He's tried 2 of his best strategies, the best Protoss strategies actually, and he wasn't even able to make a dent in them. Really what I think he wants to do here is try and get that economic victory like he has in the past, because in ZVZ today he's played 2 of them, and he's been able to get up to that mass carrier tech, and from there he's been able to defeat some very good players. Took out Silky, he took out True. That's all he played today, but you get the picture. But yeah, you know, Solar really has him by the balls here. He pretty much has free reign to do whatever he wants, because he gets to make 3 mistakes. It's pretty much 3 strikes and you're out for him. But Peely is on his last strike, and it's the bottom of the 9th. Probably shouldn't mix real sports and esports. Take a lot of people off at ESPN. Oh, wait. I don't care. But we do see pretty standard out of them. Peely not going to really risk anything with any cheesy builds. He's just going to be annoying with his drone, or probe rather, once again. And while he just gets his wall up, you know, that probe is not really meant to do anything other than be a nuisance. Kind of force Solar to say, what are you doing here? Get out of here. But you see another double gate, so we may see some more adept play. It'd probably be more on the wide side, you know, a couple adepts here and there, just to try and force Solar to defend while keeping all macroing up at home. But we shall have to see. Overlord gonna spot everything. He sees that two things are coming out. He doesn't know whether it's adepts or stalkers, but I mean, when do you really make stalkers these days? First off, these Zerglings gonna get in here. Nice little scout for them. They're gonna see pretty much everything. Not that there's much to see. He's pretty much seeing the standard. May even get a probe here if Peely's not careful, but nice wraparound. Ooh, that probe is counting its lucky stars right now. But behind this, once again, we do see that Twilight Council coming down. One Stalker as well, kind of take care of this uninvited guest. With Warp Gate being chronoed out. So, I mean, Solar at this point does know, once again, that it is going to be Resonating Glaives. But, will it, is the question, you know? Twilight Council isn't the only thing you can do with Adepts. You can also get a Dark Shrine and just hide it somewhere. And from there it'll be pretty safe. Get 4 DTs and send them across the map. Get some Archons, and then just do damage that way. But overall, it is going to be Resonating Glaives. So he's looking to do some more adept pressure. Just like in the previous game, we'll have to see if it does him better than the last game. Already we do see that Baneling Nest going up for Solar, so he will be in a nice, decent position to defend as long as he's paying attention and doesn't let it snowball out of control. Behind this is what I what I was expecting out of Peely. You know, the Glaives is nice, but he's not going to overcommit to Adepts. He's gonna force Banelings, force melee attacks, and then he's just gonna go for a big Stargate switch. And this is how he was able to take out the rest of the Zergs that he faced in the tournament. I mean, Solar is not the rest of the Zergs in the tournament, but he also doesn't know that this is coming. So behind this, we see that third base going up. It's just gonna kind of sell the point that there is probably going to be some sort of big adept push across the map. And actually, we're going to see Oracles, so I'm wondering if this is the cheeky Oracle Adept play that I love seeing out of these players. Not these players in particular, but I've seen some really funny games out of this previously, but it doesn't look like Solar is going to be able to give him a chance to do so. Photon Overcharge is being activated. A bunch of decks got warped in, but they instantly get taken out. I think this base is forfeit for the moment. You know, you can't really defend it quite easily, but actually Photon Overcharge is starting to make a dent in this. But no, it does look like he may have to abandon this base for right now. Get a few more depths before anything happens. You see these Oracles on the other side of the map. Gonna try and do something while this third base goes down. He might want to cancel it. He's waiting till the very last second to buy himself some time, and there it is. But behind this, there's no Spore Crawlers. So these Oracles have free range for right now. Not going to focus down the Queen just yet. They want to go for as many probe drones as possible, as 8 probes have gone down. Solar's just going to look to put on the pressure, but he's not going to be able to get too much else done. One Oracle actually going down. That's very nice pick off for Solar. But yeah, Billy has to be careful. He can't let these guys get into his base. He's got to be very careful with his micro. These Oracles, though, doing massive damage on the other side of the map. 15 drones going down, as opposed to the 10 probes of Peely. He did see that Void Rays are on the way as well, however. With the Fleet Beacon, he saw that. So now, he knows he has to do something. He's got to throw down the next stage of tech. He has to make sure that he is prepared for what's coming up next. And as I've said before in a previous series, the way the Zerg defeats it is by not letting them get there. You know, you can't let them get to critical mass of carriers, otherwise you're going to be in a world of hurt. Hydralisk's very nice versus them. You know, we saw in Pili Pili versus Silky that Hydralisks were able to destroy the interceptors very, very fast when in big enough number, but unfortunately it was not enough just because they started to snowball. So Solar, it looks like he doesn't really feel like being too aggressive right now. He just needs to get that Hydralisk count up. We'll see if it does him good. 4 Void Rays are also there to prevent any kind of Corruptor play. This Oracle doing even more damage. I'm trying to click on it. 12 kills so far. And it is not a good game to be a worker, as you can tell. These Void Rays doing a pretty decent job of harass as well. And get a few more probes, or drones rather, for its trouble. Maybe even picking off a stray Hydralisk here and there. That's the big thing. You need to keep your Hydralisks together, otherwise you're in a world of hurt. But he does have to get out of here as the Hydralisks start to get too big in number. Behind this, just carriers. Carriers, carriers. That's the name of the game. If Pili Pili can get up to that critical mass, and Solar doesn't have the answer for it, you know what happens. That third base, however, is now well established, so that's going to be that extra mineral boost that you need. And even Stasis Ward as well. That's going to prevent those Ling Run buys from really doing too much. But Solar knows that his opportunity to attack is now. There's plenty of Adepts, but there's plenty of Banelings as well, so you're going to have to really split. Really premature on that Photon Overcharge as well. Not going to kill off anything with it. But here it comes, the Banelings getting good connections on those Adepts for right now. Nice. Doing good there. Is a Pili Pili on defending this for the moment, but I mean, you just don't have that critical mass of carriers yet. These Banelings have free range. There's just not enough on the ground to defend against this. And those carriers are out of interceptors. So he's got to back up with them for now. So it looks like this base is going to be forfeit. He cannot lose this air army is the big thing. He's trying to fight, but just can't. You just can't fight against this with this number just yet. Already losing 22 workers as well. He needs to wait for the next swell of carriers. I think he may be able to defend against this, but at what cost is the big question. These Hydralisks just tearing down interceptors faster than they can be made. Trying to warp in Adepts, but he is dead broke. Solar is just doing massive amounts of damage, and GG is called. So Solar gets the bulk of the OSC points in this SC2 Online Cup. Pili Pili takes second place. And the rest of the people, I believe they do get some OSC points as well. It goes all the way down to first through 32nd. But I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in. This has been the SC2 Online Community Cup Open number 34. And do not have much else for you now. So again, thank you guys for tuning in. I'm Passer. If you want more awesome content like this, you can come on by twitch.tv/passer2300 for clan wars, for tournaments like this, for pretty much any kind of casting you need. You can come right here. Again, thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you next time. Have a good day.